Good evening and welcome to Paranormal Peeps with Kate Ray. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you for having me along.
Oh, it's so great to speak to you. I don't know why I've left it so long, to be fair. But these things happen, don't they?
They do. Time gets away with us all, doesn't it?
Yeah, especially now. I've seen you at the Parameets and, you were fantastic there. And, I
Oh,
never
bless
really
you.
got round to speaking to you. I spoke to you a bit there, didn't I? But, to
Mhm.
speak to you online, it's kind of different. And yeah, I shouldn't have left it that long. So apologies for that. But
There's always a reason. There's always a reason.
well, yeah, I'm always drawn to guests, and yeah, I don't know. It's just odd, isn't it? But yeah, great to speak to you. And also, you're from Nottingham as well, which is fantastic. Hi, Nando. Hi, Carl. And yeah, you're from my home county.
I
And
am. I am. I've just been saying to you that I've only been back in the home shires for about the last 2 years, and
really,
it's really weird because lots of people pop up that are from Nottinghamshire, and I'm like, how many people? How? And there's loads of us out there. It's brilliant.
yeah, and sort of not just Nottinghamshire, like around Nottingham, isn't it? Derby, Leicestershire,
Mhm.
and sort of the whole area. Like,
Yeah,
obviously we went down to the Parameet, and there's a lot of people who live within this area.
yeah.
And, it's really useful to meet up with the different people as well, which is what I do. And yeah, it's just so lovely, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's nice to find other weirdos.
Yay. I like being weird. It's cool.
Me too.
Some of my stories are a bit too weird, as I mentioned earlier. But hey ho, it's just one of those, isn't it?
It is.
But I always start wondering sort of where this sort of journey started for you then.
I think um, I I fall into the parameters of slightly different to most people in the paranormal world. When you hear people speak about, how did you get into sort of ghost hunting and whatnot, most people have had a very early experience that they wanted to try and explain, or they've had somebody who's passed over and they want a sort of proof of existence. And for me, it was born out of sheer fear. And I've always been into the 14, but more drawn to sort of the fairy side of things or ancient sites or falling fish, sort of strange phenomena, and I would,
Oh.
in the 14 Times magazine, I'd skip past the kind of haunting bits because it scared the pants off of me. And I decided to hit the ground running, so I'd always been a researcher. I decided to actually do some field work after a big birthday that I'd had, and yeah, I put the feelers out, went on a ghost hunt on my own, went to St Breville's, which everybody will know, which is
That's a
a
big
fantastic
one.
place. Sorry?
Wow. That's a
I
big
know,
one for
biggie.
this one. Yeah.
I was gonna go with a bang. If I was gonna be scared, I was gonna go with a bang. And then within 3 months, I was part of a local investigation team down south. 6 months later, I was in GPS GPE, which is Barry Guy's team, and it just sort of
Wow.
snowballed from there. So coming from a place of abject fear for anything that goes bump in the night to spending my weekends going and learning and putting forth different techniques. It was a bit of a wild journey in the early days, but it was obviously something the universe wanted to shove in my direction, so
Oh
I just went
yeah,
with the flow.
definitely. So if you went so quickly, like when I sort of went, you go to the events and then all of a sudden you're in a team. It's a
Mhm.
massive change. Were you trained or did you just pick it up quickly? Because I know for a fact, like when I was in a team, it's like, oh, what do you do? You know what I mean? It was just the team I was in wasn't that good either. It's yeah. So she wasn't
I
a
mean,
good teacher, but it's one of them, isn't
no,
it?
I mean, I was pretty lucky in the fact that like I say, I'd done research for years. I was
Ah, you've
also,
got that.
I
Yes.
was
No.
also doing my Reiki. I'd been reading tarot cards for
Ah,
25
yeah.
years. I'd had all that sort of spiritual
You've
backing
got that.
beforehand.
Yeah.
So I kind of brought those qualities in,
That's
and
good.
I was really blessed to be around so many people. I just kind of indulged myself. I went to see platform mediums, I went to
Oh,
spiritual
wow.
circle, and just learned as much as I could. I did parapsychology courses,
Wow.
and I literally
Incredible.
just went hell for leather on it.
That's brilliant. Yeah, to sort of go for sort of that just a wide range really to support you in your journey
Yeah,
and at the outset as well. That that is fascinating.
It is. I was very, very blessed, and like I say, I think once I'd put that out into the universe that this is what I want to do, I'd had this idea, and it's an ongoing idea that I'm still immersed in, was to do
Wow.
40 things during my 40 years. So I wanted to explore different aspects of, Charles Fort's world and the world of the strange and have experiences. And I think I've surpassed that a billion times over already. But it's something that I'm constantly doing, sort of visiting different sites, getting involved in different things, blah, blah, blah. So it's been very immersive. It's took over my life quite nicely, though.
It does, doesn't it? It is mad how it does take over your life. And I do sort of have a different side as well because I do drama and I've got
Oh,
friends
yeah.
in that sort of life as well. And it's like it's just two totally opposite worlds, isn't it? And now I'm
Yeah.
doing like 2 investigations per week for well, every week in February. It's
Mhm.
like you're just in between ghost hunts, really, aren't you?
Yeah, life occurs in between ghost hunts, doesn't it? That's how it
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
evolves.
It's really hard. But of all the 40 things you had to do then, which was the most extreme or the most bizarre, really?
Um, you know what? I've got to a point where nothing seems bizarre or extreme. Everything just seems like part and parcel of it. I think
Yeah,
in
I
the
get
early
you.
days, it was for me, it was private residences that would really, really terrify me. But I found them so intriguing. I went to investigate a school that I was actually working in, which is an old Edwardian building. It had been the mayor's house.
Wow.
And I found out when I started becoming a paranormal investigator that a lot of the staff in the property had seen apparitions and had things happen to them. And the first time we went to investigate the building, I was shaking in my boots. And I went in this building every day. As a teacher, I was teaching in that building.
Wow.
And going in at night, and the things that we were sort of pulling out with different bits of equipment and different experiments was just that blew my mind. That absolutely blew my mind. And it was the first time I was sent by the team that I was in on my own in the building, and they said, "You know the building, you know the energies in there. They know you. Go and do some EVP work." And I think my legs wanted to run in the opposite direction, but I just powered
Wow.
through. I was like, "Come on, we can do this."
Yeah.
But that kind of thing now seems ridiculous. It seems ridiculous to me now that I was that afraid. Um, I'm a lot calmer now.
Oh, bless you. But it is strange, isn't it? Do you ever watch yourself on film and sort of find it even more scary?
I
Do you
do.
have?
Because
Yeah.
I have delayed reaction massively. So if I'm out with guests on an event, everybody else will be panicking or, shouting out or whatever if something's occurred. And I stand there for a good minute and my brain sort of ticks through, all the kind of reasoning and rationale of what's going on. And then when everybody else has calmed down, my brain suddenly goes, "Holy crap, that was paranormal." And that's when
Yeah.
I start panicking. So everybody's calmed down, but I'm like, "Shit, that was a ghost," or that
Yeah.
really did move. So I am delayed. And I also have a real bad habit of I laugh when I'm nervous. So
Right.
if anything really big goes off, I can't help but laugh. I think it's my body's mechanism of trying to calm itself down.
Yeah.
So when I've been videoed before in really quite strenuous situations, you'll see me laughing. And when I've
Oh,
looked at that back,
wow.
I look like a nutter. Everybody's like petrified and I'm stood there just laughing, but I am scared.
Oh, it's brilliant though. It's interesting that you are scared, and to sort of deal with that because I don't know how, but I switched it off.
Mm,
I, I don't know how, but I don't. And like, it's just if I watch anything after it, like, oh my God, did I really do that? Did I really sit there? And
yeah.
you kind of realize kind of the danger question mark that you put yourself into
Mm,
because
yeah.
you don't actually know what situation you put yourself into in reality, do you?
No. No, not in the moment anyway. The
No.
fear isn't there so much anymore, but I have got a healthy awareness of things that are happening, and I think that that is something that, like yourself, when you get down the line, that's something that you developed. It's a healthy awareness of, you know,
Yes.
what kind of energies are occurring around you, and but also a healthy awareness of the people around you as well, because they can be just as sort of spontaneous as any kind of paranormal investigation.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, I just do tend to get myself with like experienced people and we just go for it and see what we get. But oh gosh, it does get heavy at times.
It
And
does.
it's just trying to make sense of it, isn't it? You try and rationalize things and you
Hmm.
can't. And I told
Yeah,
you a story before I went live and like, there is there's no sense behind it. It's just
no.
say, oh, this is a story. There you go. And like, I don't know.
Hmm.
What fascinates me also that you've written a book
Hmm.
about a park that I know so well. I used to walk there as a kid. I used to go to a free Heineken Big Top festival there.
Yeah.
It's got a lovely lake. It's got deer. It's got a lovely mansion as well. It's stunning, and you've written a beautiful book about it as well.
I have. I
Wallace
have.
Knots.
I got accosted by the gnomes for about 8 months while I was writing that book, and yeah, it was a very strange experience because I'd never set out to write that particular style of book at all. I was actually working on a book that I think I've been working on now for about 4 years,
Oh, bless
and
you.
it just wouldn't leave me alone. It just kept bugging and bugging and bugging, and I do say that I was abused by the gnomes. They came and sort of used me as some kind of channel to
Oh,
get the
wow.
story
Bless
across.
you. Yeah, but it's such an incredible story because you mentioned how the Paramete, how basically school children, was it a head as well or a teacher, actually sort of witnessed these gnomes. And like when we've discussed it, I kind of know the area where it would be. Of the whole
Hmm.
park, there's one area what just feels differently. And I
Yeah,
totally get that.
it
Oh,
is
Mark loves it.
oh, thank you, Mark. Bless you.
Oh,
It is one of those particularly ridiculous stories, and I came across it again in 14 times when I was probably about 14 or 15.
yeah.
And I read the story and just thought, this is just not even worth my time reading. It's just ridiculous. I just couldn't get my head around it at all. And it kept cropping up throughout my life as a story to look into. And it
Wow.
was I was writing for Dr. Simon Young. He put a book together of essays from different people, and he said, you know, would you like to put an essay in into this publication? And as I was writing that, there were so many things that were bubbling up from the questions that I had about the encounter, but more the questions that I had about the gnomes and the gnomes' lives and what their perspective of was of the encounter. And
Wow,
so
yeah.
as I was writing the essay, that the book kept sort of going, come on then, let's get
Let's
it
do
down on
this.
paper. And I remember the title coming to me. It's not the title I wanted, by the way. The title I wanted was The Curious Case and the Woollerton Gnomes. Was the title kept coming up, The Woolly Snots, and I ran it past Neil Rushton, who's my co-host, and said, you know, what do you think of this? Hoping that he would say, it's a horrible title, you know, don't do it. And he just said, yeah, go with it. It sounds brilliant.
Yeah.
And I was
It
like, oh,
it's
damn it.
catchy, isn't it? It
Yeah,
grabs your attention. It really does.
yeah,
And
I
yeah,
did have
it's a great title, yeah.
I was on a podcast with an American a few weeks ago, and they said, "Are we allowed to say this? Is it swearing?" Because they didn't understand what the word snot meant.
Oh, of
Um,
course not, yeah.
and I was like, "No, no, it's fine. You know, it's slightly
Yeah.
offensive, but it's kind of childishly offensive." So that was an interesting angle. I'd never thought that it might be an offensive word in a different culture.
Yeah, because this is actually going out to things as well. So that's a Facebook US Facebook page. So yeah, that'd be interesting as well. So people may kind of wonder what woolly snots are. and snot comes out your nose, basically, if you want to know. But there you go. To put it
Yeah.
bluntly, I guess. But yeah. But it is incredible the whole story, and for the people who came through with that story. But with us doing paranormal, like anything goes, doesn't it? Like the
Definitely.
the bizarre tales I've got, and I used to go to my friends. Oh, you'll have to go with me on this one, but this is what
Hmm.
happened,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's there, isn't it?
It is. It definitely is. I mean, the case of the Woollerton Gnomes, though, is it's one of those cases that I find interesting in terms of both fairy investigation and paranormal investigation, because it shows how much good information and resources change a case. So it's one of the most well documented fairy cases within Britain.
Wow.
It surpasses the Cottingley fairies in a lot of ways, and it's one of our most modern cases as well. And how the information was collated after the incident really made it a substantial case to be looked at, and it's the same within the ghost hunting world. When you can start collating data early on to substantiate what you're experiencing, it becomes a healthy case, something that you can bring into the reality where people start going, okay, then, I can't really question that like I used to, because there is so much, information around it, and
Yeah,
quality, information.
yeah, and it's sort of the people who are involved in it, isn't it, as well? That
Mm.
that sort of gives it more.
I mean,
So
it does. The head teacher wasn't actually there at the sighting, but the sighting happened on the Saturday night. Head teacher interviewed six of the children on the Monday. Um, I had a very brief opportunity to talk to the head teacher, who's still alive. He
wow,
doesn't talk
incredible.
publicly about it at all.
Mm.
Um, but one of the questions that I really wanted to ask him, and I had to be very, very quick, very, very brief with him about it, was, did he believe the children? Did he believe what they were saying? And his answer was very interesting from a psychological point of view. He said the children in his school, and particularly the children who had come to him with a story, didn't have the imagination to make something like that up.
Yeah,
And I
that
just
says it
thought
all.
that from a head teacher,
Yeah,
that was mind blowing. And he said he believed them. He said he had no doubt that what they were what they were telling him was the truth about what had happened. So
it's so incredible.
interesting. Mm,
And there must be so many other stories like, other stories about other fae as well, sort of around the country,
yeah.
and people just don't hear it, do they? It
Well,
doesn't come
people
out
don't
into
want
the
to,
mainstream as much.
because people don't want to talk about it. I mean, I've said this many times at Parameet. It's like, you can say I've seen a ghost and people are interested in what you're saying. You can say you've seen a UFO or an alien and people go, oh, okay, then say you've seen a fairy and they look at you like you're a kook. People
Yeah,
generally, it's the last taboo of the paranormal world is fairy sightings. It's something that people don't understand. They don't want to get into because they think it's something of the world of children. It's something that people feel like could ruin their credibility. It's got loads of attachments to it. It's changing. The
yeah,
tide is definitely changing on the views of fairies, which is for me fantastic, because it's been something that I've been very passionate about for a very long time,
it's
about
wonderful.
bringing to the forefront, because it's one of our, it's part of all our ancient histories globally. It's as old as our relationships with ghosts,
Yeah.
and it's something that we kind of brush to one side. And it's for me, it's a much more interesting subject than a lot of the um, paranormal world.
Well, yeah, because it's not about people, is it? Like paranormal, it's about people. It's about
Yeah.
people, but this is just this is something different, and this is something that generally we can't see as much. And like
Hmm.
I went round Bosworth, like staying there. Sorry, I went for Neil's party, and we
Hmm.
stayed at Bosworth Hall, and there's a garden there, and that's fairy garden, and that felt really different in there. You go in
Mm,
there at night and it just kind of seemed to come alive. It was something
mm.
really. It just felt you know it, yeah. But it
Yeah, I
just
do.
feels like really different, doesn't it? And there must
Mm.
be like, I'd love to go see the Major Oak again and sort of head that way because oh, I bet that comes alive at night. I need to go up there.
The yeah, Sherwood
It
Forest
was,
is definitely a different beast in the evening.
yeah,
Twilight is a good time to wander
yeah,
around the woods. It's definitely a different beast. I think you hit the nail on the head there, though, with the whole thing with, ghost hunting is predominantly the spirits of the dead, human beings. People go into the realm of demonic activity or angelic activity. Whereas when you're
yeah.
talking about fairies in the fairy realm, you've got as many, if not more, different species and subspecies of fairies as you have of animals in the animal kingdom, including sort of insects and fish and birds and whatever. It's just, there is not just one type of fae, there is millions, absolutely millions. And the sightings, especially modern sightings, have definitely started to recognize that there are things that we possibly couldn't have put a finger on what they are, but people are now saying, I believe this to be part of the fairy world.
Wow.
People often talk about things like yetis and woodwows and slender man and all these kind of different creatures that we lumped in with the cryptozoology. People are saying, are these part of the fairy realm? Are they part of that liminal realm that bobs in and out of our own?
Yeah, that's right. It yeah, it is kind of harder to get your head around because yeah, it is totally different, isn't it?
Mm,
And
it is, and
yeah,
it's
trying to imagine what
the
they look
different.
like, or because you've got the kind of the insects, haven't you? And that, and
Mhm.
it's just a mix of yeah, it's different, and
I
I
mean,
love it. So
I mean, you've got all different sizes, and you've got the span from the malevolent to the benevolent. Um, uh, I mean, the old-fashioned way of speaking about that was the Seelie and the Unseelie court, which is the court, good court and the bad court of fairies. But you have got that really wide spectrum of almost demonic type behaviour, right the way through to almost angelic type behaviour. And there is sort of Christian roots as well that said that fairies are basically the fallen angels, and the ones that didn't go down to hell, hit the earth, hit the sea, or stayed in the air, creating the fairy realm. So they have those kind of connections within Christianity. That's how they try to explain who they were. But you do have that huge range of behaviours, morals, and values within that as well, which yeah, I mean, it's interesting from a ghost hunting point of view, because it's very rare that I come across a property that's a haunted property that hasn't got issues with fae, on top of the
yeah,
spirits of the dead. And they're usually the ones that are creating what we now call poltergeist activity.
yeah, those
Um,
cheeky ones, aren't they?
yeah, the ones banging, slamming doors, throwing things, pulling hair, those kind of things are very much within the fae realm of what they want to do. And before the term poltergeist was actually put out there, we in the West used to use the word spook, and spook used to cover everything, not just ghosts, but all the fairies as well. That terminology was for a cover-all for all of them. And the Isle of Man still actually used the word spook to talk about fairies and to talk about ghosts as well. So it's when we unravel history backwards and look at the origins of things, it starts becoming less of a ridiculous subject to look at and more of an intriguing subject to look at, and what I think is really enriching for ghost hunters in the paranormal world as well.
Yeah, it is incredible, and yeah, it just seems to mirror, doesn't it? Like the way
Hmm.
we sort of, obviously from a ghost hunter perspective, but they're like set up and from the demons all the way down, it just kind of mirrors across to that
Yeah.
sort of world, if you call it that. But what sort of publications should people look at then if they want to know more about the Fae? because it's definitely intriguing.
It is massively. I always say, I mean, there are loads of good publications out there, but I always say go with what you're drawn to. My first real introduction into what I now know as the proper fairy world is the artwork of Brian Froud. I mean, before then, the only references that I knew were from children's storybooks. You got the flower
Yeah, that's
fairies
it.
and that kind of thing. And that kind of thing really didn't sit well with me. I found it quite twee and a bit kind of sickly. I always kind of knew that these beings were about, and I probably had more of an intelligence about them than ghosts when I was younger. And when I was gifted a book, a Brian Froud book, which was the Goblins of the Labyrinth. And I opened this book, and all of a sudden, everything that I'd understood of this realm was in these pages of this book. And it was just like I'd found a friend,
Yeah, yeah,
in these illustrations that somebody else really understood what it was all about. And from there, I found other books that were, that followed on from that. I think that the one that anybody within the folklore world and fairyology world will cite is the Catherine Briggs Encyclopedia of Fairy. I think it's Fairy Folk. It's got a longer title than that.
right.
However, you're talking few £100 for a copy of that
Oh, right,
nowadays. It
okay.
went out of publication. On top of that, I'd just go for the basics. There's lots of dictionary type and encyclopedia type books on fairies, and then a book will find you. A good book will find you with the right kind of information that resonates with you about what you're looking for.
Yeah, so if anyone's got any questions about Faye, please add them to the chat. But it is a fascinating subject. Like when you when you've done the talks, it's brilliant, and can't wait for the next one because I'll obviously be there in May. So
Yes, I'm
yeah,
looking forward to it. It's
yeah,
going to be good.
yeah, it's lovely, and the fact that it's over bank holiday weekend as well, and it's just great
And it's
to
my
meet up.
birthday on the Saturday.
Yay! Oh my gosh! The award
Yeah,
ceremony, it's your birthday. Wow.
yeah.
That's cool.
I have let
Awesome.
Neil know, so I'm hoping he brings me a birthday cake.
I'll have to remind him.
Mhm.
Seriously. I will
Mhm,
mention it to him. Yeah. Yeah, because I'm sure I'll see him again before then because, I do host there sometimes. But
mhm.
yeah. Oh wow. But yeah, and you've got some more festivals to go to as well, haven't you? Got quite a lot on this year.
I am really, really busy. So off the top of my head, I'm doing a workshop with Barry Guy next month. That's down in Avebury. That's sold out. There is Weird Weekends. That's in April, which is
Wow.
a conference that I've had my eye on for a very long time, and I was so pleased that they
Excellent.
invited me to that. There is Kate Cheryl's not what's it called? Something Wold. Oh, she's going to kill me for forgetting what the
Oh
name of it is.
no.
That's out in Laos. I'll find out what that's called. I'm
Oh, I
sorry,
saw
Kate.
that the other day. Yeah, love. Yeah, I did see that.
Uh, so that's not far from. Well, it'll be quite a bit further for you, but
About 2 hours.
it's
Yeah, it's near Cleethorpes, just down from Cleethorpes. Yeah, I've been to Louth.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
So I'm looking forward to that one. That's really good, and I've written an article for her book that's coming out that's about a sort of mysterious side of Lincolnshire. So, I mean,
All right.
Lincolnshire, I held quite close to my heart. My brother went to university, an agricultural college there. So I used to spend a lot of my time going over the county border and sort of
Yeah.
staying with him. So I spent a lot of time in Lincoln, but I did not realise how incredibly packed. And I mean, I don't mean just ghosts, but that county has got everything going on. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's now become one of my most fascinating places. I mean, Black Dog's more than any other county. It's
Mm.
it's been cited as the third most likely place to see a fairy, which shocked me, absolutely shocked me. The research that I did on that was just
Yeah,
phenomenal. I
because it's
absolutely
just
loved
fields,
it.
isn't it? Generally,
It's fields and fens,
it's
and that's
fields.
it.
Yeah, that's right. Wow.
But I think that's why I think these rural communities really do sort of hold on to their folklore And it's something that, people will tell stories of in pubs like we used to do. We don't generally do that anymore. You don't get old boys sort of sat round sort of talking in a
No.
pub about the time they saw a black dog while they were walking home one day. It's just not accepted, is it? But yeah, you
No,
can
it's
imagine
changed.
Lincolnshire. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
imagine in Lincolnshire, can't you? And
Yeah.
some of the rural pubs.
That's right, because I went to Tattershall Lakes for New Year. So when I
Hmm.
came back, it was like looking where to go, and I found two abbeys to go to,
Yeah.
and then you're looking around and just like so many like airfields and like other places to visit, aren't there? You just don't
It's
realise
it's
because paranormal people stick to the same locations.
mhm.
You've got all these same locations, but then like if you do go away, then you can sort of look and see what's on the map around you, and it is fascinating. I just got to head towards Tattershall again because I didn't have time to go everywhere on the way back.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't.
I always drive when I go anywhere outside the county. I will take, a few reference books with me, and if I've got time, I'll have a flick through and go, oh, there's that ancient site there, or there's this building, or there's been a site in here, or whatever.
Yeah,
Whether it's cryptid or UFO or fairies or ghosts or whatever, and I'll just take that time to wander out. But I don't know why I'd never ever thought of Lincolnshire as something that was it's brimming with supernatural. I mean, brimming. Just extraordinary stuff. So, if anybody wants to come to Kate's talk, I'll bob the details on my Facebook page. But
yeah, I'll share it
there's
on
going to be
here as well. Yeah, I'll share everything onto my group, Paranormal Path. So
that'd be brilliant. It's
yeah,
it's going to be a
definitely.
brilliant day. It's going to be a really really good day. What else? Oh, I've got this little thing called Parameet.
Yay!
Just a little weekend of Parameet.
Oh,
Which
it's
is
really
all,
good.
it's the highlight of my year. I would not give up my birthday for anything, let me tell you. And
Oh
I'm
wow!
excited. I am excited to be
Awesome.
going.
Yeah,
I am excited. I love it. I love it. It's one of those places where you can rock up on your own and you're always with friends. There's no ego and no
no,
shenanigans. It's
enjoy
just
it.
really genuinely lovely people who go. So I think I've got some things on sort of to the back end of the year as well. Oh, top of my head, come on. Uh, I think there's a couple that haven't been announced yet. A couple
Right,
of
okay.
conferences that haven't been at. But
That's
honestly,
cool.
I I am
Fantastic.
searching around for weekends free from now until November, which is awesome.
That is brilliant and crazy, isn't it? So do you get in the
It is. It's
do you get a
lovely.
holiday in? Have you managed to get yourself a holiday in between all
I've had
this?
to I've had to squeeze in a week 10 days in September, um, because I have been planning to go up to Scotland to do a big trip round the very top of Scotland, the Hebrides, for about 4 years,
Wow,
and
okay.
it just kept getting pushed back,
Mhm.
lockdowns and blah de blah and all that kind of rubbish that went on. And so this year it's like, no, I'm setting it in stone, and there is nothing going to shift that out the way. So my holiday is going to be looking at ancient burial sites and
Incredible.
magical places in Scotland.
Oh, oh, I went to Orkneys. I went to Harrison Lewis, and
Mhm.
I basically got on there for about 5 days. And the only thing to see is actually burial sites
Yeah.
because it is so rural, and like
Mhm.
think, oh, where do we go today? So you find a burial site because you
Yeah.
just like looking at the map because oh, beautiful beaches and everything, 16 degrees and raining every day. That
Yeah.
was July, but it's what it is, isn't it? But it's absolutely stunning, I do a sort of a 2-week tour of Scotland, done it for the last 2 years. Wanted
Mhm.
to try Cornwall this year, but I might be going back to Scotland again. And yeah,
Cornwall's beautiful. Cornwall's absolutely beautiful. I'd
yeah.
never give Cornwall a miss. It's a stunning part of the world.
But there's certain, I don't know. I started going to Scotland, and there's certain places I have to go back to every time. I
Hmm.
absolutely love Loch Ness.
Yeah.
Just sitting on the banks outdoors and just looking over the loch. It's just absolutely stunning. I love the road
Hmm.
at Glencoe. I stay on a
Hmm.
campsite there, and it's just certain places I need to go. And it's just so stunning. It really is. The scenery is great. And yeah, I do want to do Cornwall, and it's like, well, do I go to Scotland about June and then do my 2-week holiday down in Cornwall, or maybe later? The thing
Mm,
is about Cornwall, it's warmer.
it is.
So I've been down Cornwall in November. It's actually reasonable weather.
Hmm.
Whereas you go up to Scotland, it can be pretty well it's snowing at the moment, isn't it? So in places.
But I think I've got to that age where I'm just like, I'll take enough clothing just to wrap up.
Oh
You know,
yeah, yeah. I do go camping though, so it's harder if you're
yeah,
in a tent and like, when I
it's
had 2
miserable.
tents, so if you like pack one up and it's wet and you use the other one,
Hmm.
because I did like 2 days bigger tent than one night for one tent and 2 nights or more for a bigger tent. But it just no, you got 2 wet tents in your car.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
yeah.
I think so. There's a lot of people I meet up there as well. So yeah, I just sort of plan and then I meet people. It's great. Ancient burial sites. Yeah, yeah.
Touching the
I've been
stones
to
and
so
feeling the
many.
energy.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mark, are you stone bothering? Are you a fellow stone botherer? I
Oh,
get the
he
feeling you are.
definitely is. Oh, he is. And you meet him at the We've met him at the
I
Param,
know
haven't
Mark.
you?
Yeah, I
You
know
know
Mark.
Mark. Yeah. Are you going to go
Yeah.
to Callanish?
Don't know where's on the agenda at the minute because it's
Yeah.
changed because I was going to go to Lindisfarne and up and over
Beautiful.
through Edinburgh and Glasgow that way to the other
Yeah.
side. But so my family's from the borders. But
Yeah.
I actually went last year back. I used to spend my summer holidays on the borders, but I went back last year and did it and sort of did all the sites that I wanted to do. So it's going to be straight up. But at the minute, I am absolutely desperate to get to the Isle of Man, but it's so bloody expensive to get a ferry
Yeah.
over there. It's just ridiculous. You could get to Spain cheaper. I think the people on the Isle of Man don't want people over there. I tell you.
Mhm. Yeah, I get that because it's just yeah, it just seems like all unspoilt. It seems like all oldie worldy, doesn't it?
Mm,
Yeah. And yeah, I've always been intrigued by it, definitely.
yeah,
But yeah, it's always seemed out of my range. That's the thing about Harrison Lewis as well. The price to get over there is a lot.
I know.
But I did it, and yeah, it was worth it. And I got into Tarnsay as well, which was the
Mhm.
island which they filmed Castaway on. So
Ah,
yeah, that was interesting. But yeah,
yeah,
if you did want to know the details of the owner, I'll let you know when if you ever need them. But
yeah,
yeah, but
that'd be good.
yeah. So, are there any other countries that would fascinate you in respect of the Fae as well?
I think globally there's something in every country that kind of rings the bell, if you like,
Yeah.
when it comes to the fairies.
Mm.
Um, but to be fair, I've kind of over the years, I used to be really intrigued about traveling globally. I only ever did it sort of, for a few weeks at a time. Didn't, wasn't a globe hopper or anything. That kind of thing just does not appeal to me anymore. I just feel like the UK for me particularly is so unexplored. There is so
Right.
much that I haven't seen and hidden gems, and I've got no desire to go out the country. But I mean, if I was a bit of a pull for me is probably northern France because of its Arthurian connections and
Yeah.
it's ancient sites. But there is so much that I want to do in this country, and all the time I'm finding out about different weird sites and ancient woodlands that I want to visit, or other fairy encounters, or really bizarre ghost stories that have gone on. And I just think that's got to go on the tick list. That's.
Yeah.
I think I'd spend a lifetime discovering things in this country.
Yeah. Well, that's good though because if you go anywhere for a week, it's certainly not long enough, is it? Once you sort of get
Never.
exploring. Like I recently
Yeah.
went to Talbot in Oundle, but
Hmm.
then you look at what's linked to it. That was
Hmm.
mind blowing. The
Hmm.
area they've got the castle, which is hardly there anymore, and there's
Yeah.
everything else around it, and that's just one small area. So,
Hmm.
you just take another area and that's what's going to be there. Well, there you go,
Yeah.
Gorton's. So, Gortons. So that's near Stoke.
What's that then? What's that then?
Yeah, intriguing now.
Oh, is that another
Yeah,
one I've got to put on my list? Thank you, Mark.
yeah. So what's Gorton's got then, Mark? Oh, okay. Oh, interesting.
Oh, nice.
I've not heard of that one. Tracy has a smaller amount of UK land which isn't haunted. Yeah, that's right. And we have got so much history, and you don't know what's underneath us at all, do you?
No,
and
definitely not. And we've got so many different cultural layers as well to this country. It's
oh,
not,
definitely.
we're a small island that was constantly invaded, so there is always going to be a spiritual energy that's very unique to the island. So yeah, it's a very interesting. We're a melting pot, and it's a very interesting
Oh,
country for
definitely.
that
Yeah.
reason.
Because looking back into Nottinghamshire history, like 1200s, Nottingham
Hmm.
split between two different
Hmm.
languages. And,
Yeah.
you don't realise that. And,
No.
there's so much which has been lost, isn't there?
Mm. Yeah,
And
it's
then
it's crazy.
when they find like Roman villas in farmers' fields and everything, just so much to uncover and so much to find.
That made that made me laugh at King's Clipston when they did that. When they found it, it's like as kids we used to play on it. It
Oh,
wasn't
did
buried
you?
in the ground. Yeah, it was literally the ruins that are there now, and everybody knew about it. Nobody really knew what it was, but it was never disrespected in any particular way. But it was Time Team came in, and it was like all a big hullabaloo, and it was like, yes, we've discovered. It's like it's always been there. How can you discover something that's always been there?
Well,
I
I've
tell you what,
actually
it
been
fascinates.
there. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah, you
because
could
I popped
just go
up
over the.
there.
Yeah,
I popped up there and I just Googled. I thought, oh, what do I go to? Oh, okay, we'll go and see that. So yeah,
yeah. There's not a great deal there, but there's a really
no,
good pub you can see at the bottom of the hill, so it's definitely worth going for the pub.
yeah, but it is incredible, isn't it? And
Mm,
Fotheringhay Castle, it's just a hill really, and the little stones, and then you've got the plaque. The plaque's there,
yeah,
but you just think like what that held, the amount of
yeah.
history. King Richard III, and obviously Mary Queen of Scots. Lots of energy, so peaceful. It's surrounded by yew trees. Oh wow, yeah.
Mm.
Something about yew trees as well, isn't there? They're
Yeah,
sort
that
of
they are
more.
one of well, all trees are magical, but the yew tree is
Oh
meant to be
yeah,
particularly magical and very
yeah.
sacred. That's why a lot of churchyards have yew trees in because the churches came along and nicked pagan ritual sites,
Oh
plonked
yes.
the churches on, but kept the yew trees there because they were superstitious of them. That's why we've got very old yew trees in a lot of our churchyards.
Yeah, yeah, they're absolutely stunning though. I think as a child, because my family, like my grandmother was into nature, at an early age, I knew all the trees around me and like,
Hmm.
yeah, and oh gosh, they're beautiful. And obviously Sherwood Forest, it is a beautiful place, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's definitely got some uh, areas of different pockets of energy within the woods, though. I did a bit of a personal survey years ago. I'd gone round one summer and I'd made a lot of little fairy figures that I put up in the
Wow.
trees. And I've never actually admitted this, I don't think, in public.
Yay! It's a
This is a
first. Brilliant.
first.
Yay!
Because I was terrified at the time of being caught and arrested for littering the woodlands, but I
We
wasn't. And I put them at the height for adults as opposed to children because I love the notion of adults getting back to a sense of play. And I would go around and note whether they'd been taken or whether they'd been moved or whether anything had been left
Wow.
with them. And as part of that, and this was just something I was doing to fascinate myself at the time, I was seeing sort of the same dog walkers on a regular basis, and I'd get chatting with them. And so I plucked up enough courage to ask over a number of weeks if there was anywhere where they felt things were different, felt different in the woods. And everybody said pretty much the same place, the same location in the woods, that they said they didn't like being there very long.
Wow.
And the thing that did me was I saw regularly a guy who he was probably in his late 60s. He was an ex-fireman. He was very much an old school man's man. And I thought, I'm going to ask him, because we would exchange hellos and, talked about the dogs and stuff. And I thought he was going to come back of, oh, that's nonsense, this is, all that kind of crap's nonsense. And he didn't. He said, there is a place in the woods that I will not walk, and the dog won't walk. And it was the place that
Mm,
everybody was saying. So if anybody's been to Sherwood Forest, it'd be interesting to find out if anybody could give a sense of where they think that that is. Bizarrely enough, I think the energy has changed up there. It's shifted quite a lot over the last few years. So
okay.
whether it's the same spot for people, I don't know.
Has it changed because the visitor centres developed and everything? Because back in the day, there was hardly anything there, but then, it does become a bit more commercial, doesn't it?
Um, Listen, if you get me on this subject, we'll be here all night talking
Oh,
about my
okay.
bugbears
Yeah,
and bones with the bloody
yeah,
Sherwood
yeah,
Forest and what they're doing, doing
yeah,
to it. But
yeah.
yes,
I can
very much.
imagine. Yeah, yeah, that's
Um,
right.
and the fact that the idiots are snapping and pulling out trees with great machinery, um, it's just yeah, it's disgusting. I quite often voice myself on
Oh, bless
local
you.
Facebook sites about how disgusted I am with what they're doing up there. So
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
it
I've
has
got an
changed a lot
issue
because of that.
here. Like we had,
Yeah.
there's an open cast pit, so they grassed it, made it into a little open area, and you've
Hmm.
got this ancient woodland near it, and they've gone and chopped it down, and it's like, well, what the hell have you done, And they've kind of built a bit on this old mine as well, and it's like, why? And it's
I
oh, it
know.
was, like it was on Facebook, it was kicking off on Facebook because, they don't, yeah, they're just losing the trees, and it's absolutely shocking, isn't it?
And they
Um,
don't listen. They don't listen.
no, it's all about money and everything, isn't it? And
Mm.
quotas and but yeah, and Sherwood Forest, like it was so much bigger than it is now. It's only a tiny pocket of what it used to be. Like, I'm in
You
the
think
area of
so?
Sherwood Forest,
But
technically.
yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is, it has ebbed and flowed over the years, and the biggest that it's been within recorded history was actually in the the years of the Second World War, when they literally replanted a lot of the woodlands for taking down for industrial use. So that's why we've got a lot of pine woodlands here.
Ah,
So
yeah.
originally, the Sherwood Forest would have been a huge swathes of heathland that were used for hunting and small pockets of trees. So we don't do bad. I mean, when we think of Sherwood Forest, we do think of vast, acres of
Oh,
trees and whatnot.
definitely,
But
yeah.
um, I mean, we have got a good decent, wodge of them, and there's you can actually go up in the village onto the old pit tip now, because they've turned that into a nature reserve, and you can see the top of the canopy of the heart of Sherwood Forest and how
Oh, wow.
far it goes. It's miles and miles, and you get a panoramic, and you get Thoresby Estate in there with Thoresby Hall, and you can see over to Newark. You know the sugar beet towers at
Oh,
Newark.
yeah. Wow.
You can see them from up there, which is miles away.
Yeah, it
So
is. Wow, it's incredible.
it's quite glorious. It is quite glorious to be up there and to see it all.
I might take the
I'm
hound up
very.
there sometime. I'm
You
definitely
ought to.
needs. I keep needing to go, and I haven't. And like every year, I want to go, and like, oh, I need to because hound would be happy. But yeah,
Yes.
but yeah, it's a stunning place, and I know the Major Oak. It's struggling, but it's still there, isn't it? And have you
Yeah.
walked inside
Still
the
there.
Major Oak?
I used to have picnics as a child in the Major Oak when
Yeah,
it wasn't fenced off,
yeah,
and
exactly.
they've sealed the hole, and I understand why they've done that because
Oh, Oh,
yeah, I think in the 80s and then again in the 90s, somebody has decided to set fire in the middle of the
I
major oak.
remember now. Yeah.
And it was devastating, absolutely devastating. But yeah, I've got lots of pictures of me as a wee child stood inside the
Yeah.
major oak, looking very proud to be in there.
I remember banging my head on it. So
Hmm.
I went in it and I banged my head, and I just remember
Yeah.
that. And it's just a crazy thing to remember, isn't it? And I've no idea how old I was. But yeah, to be able to do that as a child and say, yeah,
Mm.
I've been through the major oak, and it's like,
Yeah,
and y- yeah, you kind of lose the fun now, don't you? And obviously we know why, but it's a shame, isn't it? You
massively.
used
I
to have
mean,
the freedom to roam and go near it and touch it, and I know it's got to be
I do
protected,
walk
but
around Sherwood Forest at the minute with the oh, is it Big Yellow Taxi, the song where it's the words are you pave paradise and you put up a parking lot, and it's
all
about putting
right.
trees in a tree museum, and you go up in Sherwood Forest and it feels like a tree museum. All the ancient oaks now are have got fences around them, and I can't believe you got me on this subject, but the RSPB,
Ooh,
the RSPB were on about, because that's who manage it now. We're on about many years ago about putting in suspended walkways because they didn't want people walking on the ground. And it was like,
no.
people have walked this ground for thousands and thousands of years amongst the trees. Great trooping armies went through Sherwood Forest. It's a few dog walkers in the day, and then the summer holidays, a few thousand tourists aren't going to do any damage to an ancient woodland. It's just been
Oh
it's been
my
crazy.
gosh. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I think last time I went, I was surprised by how much of it is fenced off. And you have got
Mm.
footpaths, and there's nothing like walking through a forest, as in through the woodland, not by it on a path.
Well,
It
you
is a
haven't heard
different
it
feel,
from
isn't
me.
it?
You haven't heard it from me, but there's
No,
no
that's
sign saying that you can't go beyond the fences.
okay. And if my dog go that
Why
way,
not?
Rocky. Oh, Rocky, where
Uh,
are you going? Oh, I must follow you.
yes.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what dogs are like. Yeah,
And They're,
just
aw- they're awful for running off. You have to
I
follow him.
know. Well, definitely. Go on, go, run, run, run. Oh no, wait. But yeah, and yeah, I do want to go up there soon, definitely. But yeah, just avoid the tourists. Ah,
Yes.
'cause yeah, you don't want the special exhibition weekends, do you? Where they got
No.
Robin and his merry men round there.
Right, I tell you what, the Krampus weekend was brilliant. I went to that at the end of
That
January.
looks
I've done that a few
awesome.
years.
Yes, I
It's
saw that.
brilliant.
I saw the
It's
photos. Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah. Now that would intrigue me because because that's more my sort of thing rather than yeah entertainment. Which
But
yeah,
I mean, they're very good. They do take it. They take the rituals very seriously. So
that's
on
good.
the first day, you get run out of the people get run out of the woods by the Krampus, and this year there were thousands of people. Well, I say thousands. There's probably about 1,000 plus people who turned up on the Sunday. But then they bless the major oak and bless the woods, and they do take it. It's very magical. They do take it very
Oh, that's
seriously when they're doing the
beautiful.
blessings. Um, but yeah, it's a really good atmosphere. It's a really fun atmosphere.
Right, I'm going to check out that for next year then, because
Do it.
January you need something to look forward to, don't you? And when I
Yeah.
saw your photos, I think somebody else went there I knew as well. And it's like, yeah, well, I didn't even know about this. You know about the one in Whitby? Everyone
These
knows what
are
happens in Whitby.
these are the Whitby Krampus that come.
Oh,
They are the
they
Whitby
are? Oh
Krampus.
my
Yeah.
God. That's even
Yeah.
better. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, yeah, so I so wanna go. Oh yeah, the Whitby one's fantastic. Oh my gosh, so there you go then, Mark. You have to go to the one that's, in the Sherwood Forest. But yeah, it's so great to have that on your doorstep. I've got
Mm.
Bramcote Woods near me. It's smaller,
Oh,
but it's
Bramcote Woods
nice.
are lovely.
Yeah,
It is
and I've got
lovely.
the Hemlock Stone as well. Right, we've got
Yeah.
this Hemlock Stone. Nobody knows what it's about, you know,
Hmm.
and yeah, there's folklore behind it, and there's been rituals around it and everything, haven't there? And it just
Yeah.
stands there now, It's kind of they have a festival once a year, don't they? But it's not the sort of right sort of festival sort of thing. Not
Hmm.
my sort of festival, but yeah,
Yeah.
uh, it yeah, there is so many amazing things around us. So, what's on your wish list in this country then, more than
Oh,
anything?
Isle of Man,
What?
top of
Uh, yeah, Isle of Man.
definitely top
Yeah,
of the list. I think per square foot of anywhere else in the British Isles, that's got to be the most that jam-packed paranormal, supernatural, fairy
yeah,
place on the planet. Um, the thing is, I like stumbling across places. I like going places, and I'll go on Google and put in ancient
yeah,
sites near me and seeing what comes up. And I have come across some corkers,
yeah.
small stone circles in woodlands. I think it was Arthur's Cave. I can't remember where that was. That was walking through the woods up to Arthur's Cave, but there was an ancient labyrinth and
Wow.
stone on the floor, and it was these are all I'm sort of going to or coming from a paranormal event, or going to and coming from sort of a fairy market or something
Mm.
like that, and I just think, oh, I'll stop off and check it out. And I think one of the most lovely places, but it's a bit of it's a bit theatrical, is the Druids Folly up in Yorkshire.
Okay.
And it looks like you're literally in some kind of movie set for the Vikings, and it's this henge with a sort of a fashioned burial chamber, and slab in it. It's quite big and spectacular, but it was actually built as some rich guy's folly in his back garden, of a rolling estate. But I went, and I was a bit kind of like, I'm going to be disappointed in this because it's not really an ancient site, but it is spectacular. You do
Mm.
wander around thinking like you're on a movie set or something. So
Oh, wow.
definitely that's worth visit. I did that a couple of years ago when I was going up to. I wanted to visit Cottingley Beck, where the Cottingley fairies were photographed, and there's another site up there called Janet's Foss, which is uh, a waterfall that's got
Mm.
loads of myths and legends around it, and it's got, is it a ghost, is it a witch, is it a fairy kind of story
Mm.
to it. So yeah, there's lots of Yorkshire that I want to explore. Want to definitely explore. I thought I'd done pretty well at exploring the Peak District, but
Yeah.
I'm finding I've probably done 2% of it over my lifetime. It's the place is just riddled with the most spectacular places, with such history and such myth and legend. It's so that's I'm pretty much on the doorstep, and that'll be be trips out there, I suppose, over the warmer months, and seeing what I
Yeah.
can find.
I guess for us, like Derbyshire, it's where we went. Like
Yeah,
through like childhood. We'd just
yeah,
drive to Derbyshire. Always was
yeah,
Derbyshire as well. It's never
yeah.
Lincolnshire, was it, or
No,
Leicestershire?
no.
But we always went up to Derbyshire.
Did you
And
do the Sunday afternoon Matlock bath? There was
God,
a load of us who used to do
jeez.
that on a Sunday afternoon. You get bored,
Done
somebody'd
it,
have a
yeah.
car, you'd jump in a car, and
Oh,
everybody would be. That's like our seaside without a sea up this way, isn't it? It's like the
yeah,
nearest
that's
sort of
right. It's seaside.
experience.
Yeah, with that.
Yeah,
Yeah. And that's my most favourite sort of paranormal place to go to, Matlock Pavilion.
yeah,
Um,
that
and
place is stunning.
oh gosh, it is, and I've had some crazy experiences there. I really have. But yeah, Matlock is special. I've got childhood memories there as well. Going there with my grandparents and things like that. And yeah,
Hmm.
like now I try and avoid going there on a Sunday because I haven't
Yeah,
got a motorbike, and that's the only way to do it on a Sunday, isn't it? Really?
yeah,
But
yeah.
oh god,
I
yeah.
still like going up, and I love it when they have the steampunk weekends. That is
Mm,
just. Have you been up on a steampunk weekend
I
where
haven't. No, I missed that one.
the place is packed and people look spectacular? Sort of. It's proper like. being thrown back to the Victorian times, but with a,
Oh,
obviously with a steampunk twist on top of it. It is bizarre and beautiful at the same time. It's an amazing time if you can get
yeah.
yourself there over one of those weekends.
Oh, I'll see what I can do because I've certainly got the outfit. I have got an outfit, well, cobbled together something, but that's it, isn't it? But
Yeah,
yeah, I've got a friend heavily into scenes, so I can check with her when it is and go camping up there actually because it'd be a lot easier. Yeah,
it
but
is. It's nice
yeah.
camping up that way.
Oh gosh, yeah. We always go up sort of every year up Derbyshire somewhere, and yeah, it's just a beautiful place, isn't it? And
Hmm.
it is, like Nottinghamshire, you've got all the trees. Derbyshire, you've got the scenery, haven't you? Don't
Hmm.
like to admit it because Derby and Nottingham, you know what I mean? It's one of those, but
Yeah.
but
Mm.
yeah, but there are some incredible places around us, and
We are lucky. We are lucky.
no matter where you are in the country, just look around you. There might be
Mm.
something hidden. Like we've got Dale Abbey near here, and
Hmm.
that's got a little hermit's cave and the woods round there. That's beautiful,
Hmm.
and at night that comes alive so much. I bet there's
Yeah.
something around there. The sounds you get at night. It's just beautiful and fascinating. Yeah. So, what is your scariest encounter then when you've been out?
Oh, I think there has been lots. I think the one for me, it has been in terms of ghosts, it's definitely been
Yeah.
private investigations that have done it. And there was one that I'd gone to with Barry years ago, and it was a family that were pretty much under siege,
Oh
and
gosh.
it was horrendous. The house was horrendous, and we'd just gone to do some interviews with them just to make sure that all the paperwork was right and
Yeah.
they were who they said they were and that kind of thing. And we were only going to spend some time doing a bit of filming in the property and just getting, crossing the T's and dotting the I's. And I was filming. As I was asking questions to the mum of the family, the room was there was about six of the family in the front room while I was doing this, and the mother was just explaining to me that they had a phenomena that went off in the house that was the house would rumble like there was an earthquake. And as she was explaining this to me, it started to happen, and
Wow.
it was extraordinary. The walls were rippling. That's the only way I can describe it. They were rippling, and of course, as investigators, we checked everything out. We checked the land
Yeah.
out underneath. We had testimonials from the neighbours saying that they heard nothing ever.
Oh my
It didn't
gosh.
happen in their property, um, and that ceased. That sort of died down, but it's the atmosphere, isn't it, in these places when it's happening? But as that died
Yeah.
down, we could hear footsteps running up and down the hall in upstairs. And that particular property, we had, I think it was 3 coins that are ported out of the air while we're there. And we weren't even there investigating, we were there getting information. But I think what scared me the most was how absolutely terrified this family was. They were
Oh,
all
bless
sleeping in the front
them.
room at the time because they couldn't bear to sleep, even in twos. They couldn't even bear to sleep two
Oh
in a room. They
no.
all
That's
slept
shocking.
together. So that was frightening because it was very real. It's very different to an
Yeah.
event where you go on an event and it's kind of there is that quality of entertainment to it.
Yeah, and
Not
you leave
saying
it
that,
behind.
yeah,
Yeah.
you do. You can't. You kind of it affects
Well, you
nobody,
hope
and
you
you're in the
do. You hope you do.
yeah, yeah. But you don't really, nobody is on a day-to-day basis affected by it, and everybody goes into those properties, knows what they're getting themselves in for,
Yeah.
and wants to be there for the event. But private cases are very, very different when it's incredibly meaningful to people.
Oh,
Um, I've
definitely.
I've lived in a very severely haunted property, and it was before I was a paranormal investigator, and it made me very sick. It made me very, very sick being in that property. So I do have an empathy for people who are stuck, basically living
Yeah.
in these places. It's but that's pretty much where my passion lays when it comes to ghost hunting
Oh, bless you. Yeah.
is 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 residential properties.
Yeah, because you can help so much and make a difference. And it's when children are involved as well, isn't it?
Mhm. Yeah,
That's the thing. And
yeah.
is it the children who can be causing the activity as well? You know, is
That's
this
that's
part of
one
it?
theory.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I mean,
just like so much, isn't it? Which
yeah,
potentially it could be. But wow,
yeah.
it's so fascinating. So when you say you were in a haunted house, what was that like then?
It was really quite severe. Looking back now with an investigation head on,
Yeah.
um, it was up there probably in, you know, the most severe haunted properties that I've been in.
Wow.
The first 3 years of living there, I'd had no problems whatsoever. So to this day, I don't know. I don't think it was attached to the property. I actually think at some stage it attached to me. I don't know where from or
Okay.
how or
Right.
whatever. And it started off with scraping sounds on the wall.
Mm.
And I thought it was my next. I had new next door neighbours, and I thought maybe they work shift because this was always at night. Maybe they work shifts and they're actually redecorating the property at night when they've
Yeah.
got some
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And it escalated. I was there. I was probably there for about 13 years, and it escalated sort of very, very slowly. But things like I would have the most disgusting, putrid plumes of smells
Oh.
that would just come out of nowhere. And if anybody else was in the property, I would kind of apologise and say, I'm really sorry about the smell. I don't know where it's coming from. And quite often that other person would smell lilies or smell a floral scent. But I was smelling
Wow.
something that smelled like death. It actually eventually escalated into poltergeist activity.
Oh my god.
And from there, when I eventually came to sell the property, I'd moved out of the property and I was living down south while I was trying to sell it. And the estate agent called me and said, Kate, you need to get back to the house. Um, she said, there's some flies. This was in November. I had
Oh,
cleaned
okay.
everything out the property, scrubbed all the cupboards.
Yeah.
Everything was absolutely
As you would.
pristine for people
Yeah.
viewing. I came back and I kid you not that there were thousands of blue bottles. Thousands. They
Oh
were
god.
dead on the floor. They were half dying in the air. There were plumes of them. I was hoovering them out the air. There were thousands. It was making me gag.
Oh god. No.
And when I cleaned up the mess, I searched around the property thinking, has somebody put a handful of maggots through? This was
Mm.
November. The heating hadn't been on in the property, so it was,
You don't get blue bottles then anyway. They've
and there were
gone.
thousands. There were
Oh
thousands.
Jesus no.
And that was pretty much, I mean, the other things that happened to other people who were completely skeptic. I had a friend at the time who had gone to use the bathroom. He wanted to wash his face, so he'd filled the sink up with water. He'd gone over to sort of splash his face with water, and he felt his head being pushed under the
Oh
sink. And he
god.
thought it was me mucking around, so he span round, and obviously there was nobody there. And he didn't tell me for about 3 days that that had happened to him because he was so petrified. I'd got family members who refused to come round anymore because they'd encountered stuff. It was just,
Wow.
it was pretty much off the charts, and it made me very ill. The energy was so oppressive. It was awful. I sometimes drive by it and think, wonder if that's still haunted. Shall I go on the tour and
Yeah,
ask?
I'm intrigued now. But yeah.
Yeah,
Oh gosh. But that flight, that is your worst nightmare anyway, isn't it? I
it is.
just
It is.
I would freak. Just walking into that, you oh my god. Just
But
keeping your
well,
head and not
I was.
freaking and dealing with it is like,
I mean, it was at night when I'd got back up there because I had to drive back up from Buckinghamshire,
oh god, so
and
you're tired anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
tired, and it was dark, and I was just absolutely baffled. I to this day I can't. I checked all the drains, the inlets from the drains, because when you've got flies en masse, you get maggots and you get castings. So if maggots have turned into flies and they're cast off,
Yeah.
there's
It's
cast. Couldn't
suicide.
find anything. Nothing. Couldn't find anything.
God. That that's so surreal because I've never heard of that, obviously something's happened in the house and something's there, and yeah,
Yeah.
obviously, but not for no reason. Well,
I don't,
wow.
I really don't know. And it was literally 3 years after I moved in. The first 3 years, there was nothing, absolutely nothing. I used to have to sleep with the lights on in the property because there was that
Oh my
much that
god.
would go off.
Yeah,
That
I
I
totally get
couldn't
you.
stand to be in the dark in the property. It was, and I lived there on my own. There was me and my two cats, and it was the cats picked up on it quite often.
Yeah.
Um, and it wasn't a nice house to be in. You know, the atmosphere
Wow.
was pretty dreadful.
Oh my gosh. So what did the cats do? How did they react?
They would. I mean, they were both really placid little creatures. They were indoor cats anyway, and they were
Yeah.
proper lazy cats. And they would arch and hiss,
Oh
um,
my god.
especially when I've been a couple of times when I witnessed objects moving, and they would see it at the same time, and they would be up with the hackles up and hissing in the
Gosh.
direction of whatever was moving. It was, yeah. I mean, I would love now to investigate it.
Oh yeah, I
I'd
know,
be
but not live
thriving off
there
it.
though. Oh
No,
my god, you'd do really well there now. You'd open it up at night and hire it out, wouldn't you?
yeah, yeah,
And that's it. You get it, yeah, get it in the paper, then boom, sorted.
yeah.
But yeah, my gosh, but yeah, and I guess it's more back in the day when paranormal wasn't spoken about as well, was it?
Well, I didn't speak about it certainly because I had this theory, and I stupidly test this theory out. I used to have this theory that if you speak out loud of these things come to you. And when I first became an investigator, it took me back to that theory that I had. So I never spoke about things, and I certainly didn't think about them. I'd try and put them to the back of my mind. And one night, very, very early on, being an investigator, I said in my head as I went to bed,
Oops.
if spirit if spirits can hear my thoughts, can you make yourself known? Can you tell me in some
Oops.
way that you can actually listen to what my thoughts are? I got woken up, and this is no word of a lie. I got woken up early hours of the morning. I was with my partner at the time, to a scraping sound again. Looked to the bottom of the bed, and I had a vase full of flowers, dried flowers, and the flowers had been picked slightly up out of the vase and were scraping side to side across the wall. I shot up out of bed thinking, am I seeing this right? And
Yeah.
the thing flung itself across, knocking loads of stuff off the dressing table, flung itself off across the
Oh
room,
my
waking up my
god.
partner. And I decided from that day on, I wasn't going to ask stupid questions in my own
Mm,
home ever, ever again. I
get
said,
you.
thank you very much for letting me know. Move on. I don't want this in my home. Off you go. Move on.
Oh god, no. It's fascinating, isn't it? Like I've never investigated really at my home, and they sort of say don't because you don't know what you're bringing in, do you?
You don't know. Have you never had any experiences in your home? Because as an investigator, I've had tons.
Oh
I've had,
god, yeah, I just ignore them.
do you?
Yeah, well, my last dog he used to stare at the door, or well, either that door or that door, and he'd just sit there staring. My dog once growled at something, but then again, I was sitting with the ashes of my other dog, so I think he
Yeah,
probably growled at my other dog. To be fair,
yeah. Mhm.
um, like I could be on the podcast and there could be a bang, I go, oh yeah, okay, whatever. Or like
Mhm.
I've got some dolls as well in my house, and I've got some other things in my house as well. It
Oh,
happens.
dolls, as in haunted dolls, or just
Well,
dolls.
well, they're kind of just dolls. One's from a
Are you
1940s.
sure?
One's from a 1940s tea room, which people took offence at, and it
Okay.
kept falling off the shelf. And the other one was in an Audi car park,
Okay.
and this woman she found it in an Audi car park, so she picked it up and it got a broken face. So she took it home to make it into a Halloween evil doll,
Yeah.
but they had to get rid of it straight away because her dog was freaking out at it. And then when I went to collect it the night before, this guy who didn't know what he's doing, he got an app out and a picture fell behind. And yeah, I've got it. It's fine. It sits with the other doll. I've got some other items. I've got a dodgy mirror as well. If I go near it, I actually
So you're not,
parameet. One of the first parameets
yeah,
haunted the object, and there's my mirror in there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, so you
So
won't
yeah,
investigate your house, but you'll bring in haunted objects.
yeah. I don't care. It's all good. Ah, fine. Hi, Tony. But I kind of feel that I think I'm heavily protected by something.
Mhm,
I really am sure there's just something like just stops me. I've got a past life issue. I don't know if it's around me. Judging by the weekend, I think he is, and I think in a way it's
mhm,
protecting me. Um, the weekend, I'll tell you afterwards what happened. I mentioned a bit, but something else happened which was mad. But hey ho,
mhm,
yeah. But you find these things out when oh, dear me. But yeah, I don't know. I used to live in a haunted pub. That was interesting. That's one I didn't
mhm,
believe. And I have a TV come on. I used to fall asleep, and then a TV would come on. I'd wake up, fall asleep, wake up. A minute later, the TV would come on. A few seconds, white noise, change to something else, then come off. That happened
mhm,
frequently. I kind of got used to that first time. It really like bothered me, but then I
mhm,
kind of got used to it. And then once that happened, that whole saga, and then the pub alarm went off. So when the engineer came out, I had to go at him. Why did it go off? Tamper. Well,
mhm,
who's tampered it? Check CCTV. Nothing. Go on. Why's it done it? Oh, I don't
mhm.
know. Well, why? Power surge? Tell me. Yeah, no explanation. It's just weird how the telly did that and that. Yeah, and I used to chat to him okay, even though I didn't quite believe in ghosts. I was in denial.
Yeah.
But yeah, this house things happen, but I don't know. I just think it was something, yeah. Do you get anything where you are now?
Not had anything really in this property. We were a couple of villages over for about 18 months renting. That was
Okay.
quite a weird property, noises and things. I don't think I've ever been in a property where there hasn't been something, but nothing like that house that I lived in on my own. That was absolutely, that was pretty much a weekly occurrence. That place. It wasn't just the sort of the one-offs.
Yeah.
Here I've heard voices, but it's bizarrely enough because I lived in the village. I knew the lady who owned this property and owned it from
Oh,
new.
wow.
So I don't. There isn't. It's got such a lovely homely feel to. It's been absolutely loved as a family house. So
Oh, wow.
don't get anything sort of slightly negative about. I tell you what is the weird thing, and I did it in the last property that I was in. I um I was renting from a friend of mine that his previous tenants had pretty much trashed the house and said, you can rent it for cheap if you help do it up, just
Oh,
sort of
okay,
decorate and
yeah.
clean and whatever. And I had this crazy notion one night that I was going to, and it's not really my colour, but I was going to decorate the kitchen this specific shade of sort of mustard yellow.
Okay.
And it's out of my colour palette. I'm a green. I like my
To be
greens.
honest, mustard yellow's a lot out of a lot of people's palettes.
Yeah, yeah. I did it and it looked fab. It did look
Oh,
fab. And then
wow.
I came round to redecorating the downstairs toilet. And as I was peeling off the wallpaper, exactly the same colour as I'd painted the kitchen was in the downstairs toilet.
Wow.
That was weird enough. So I came to this house, and again, pink's not in my colour palette. Had a particular shade of pink that I wanted to do the kitchen with again, so I did it this shade of pink, and thought I must get a light for the pantry under the stairs because I couldn't see anything in there. Found that there was a light, turned it on, same shade of pink. And I'm like, what is going on here? Is there
Oh,
something energy about that saying I liked that colour? Come on, reinstate that
mm,
colour into the house. It's strange, but it
intriguing.
was nice. It was very, very weird. Very weird.
Yeah. Yeah, as for weird, like I was actually with Gary on Friday night, and he's
Hmm.
kind of helping us to come to terms with what happened on Friday and Saturday night. Because
Yeah.
yeah, I think
Hello, Gary.
sometimes you do go out investigating, and there are things happening since, and it's a bit weird, really.
Mhm.
And you kind
Yeah.
of just thinking about what's happened as well. And it
Hmm.
was kind of extreme. People were going into trance. So then you sort of getting more direct information and yeah, very intriguing and yeah, one
Yeah.
to ponder about for years really. But it's great when you sort of get times like that, isn't it? And you do so many investigations, but wow, there's some you don't forget. And
Yeah, definitely.
and even to the camera, I've got a camera and I charged it and it could run for ages, hours. And I
Hmm.
used it the first night, and I didn't use it that long. And the second night, it only did half an hour and went. So
Yeah.
the bit what I
Oh, that.
needed to record, I couldn't, and I had to use my phone. So I've got no visuals, but I've got audio, and that's
Yeah.
creepy. That's very
Hmm.
creepy. But yeah, so I'll have to put that out. But yeah, but I just love what we do. So have you got any locations lined up where you're going to, or
Yeah, we've got Ghost Finder Paranormal Society events. We're going the first one. I'm not going to. That's down in Buckinghamshire. That's the museum down there. But the next one that I'm going to is Dudley Castle, which is a new one for me.
beautiful?
Never been to
Yes,
Dudley, so
nice.
so that's on the agenda. We are back at Shepton Mallet a couple of times.
Oh, lovely.
That place.
Yes.
I do not like prisons very much. I don't like prisons. I don't like asylums, and I don't like hospitals. I just
Yes.
the energy is just insane.
Mhm.
Literally insane. It's off the
Yeah.
scale. And Shepton Mallet, yeah, it's very crackly, Shepton Mallet. Where else have we got this year? I can't think off the top of my head. I know we've got lots of different ones. We've got lots going off with, like I say, we've got the workshop in Avebury. So
Yeah,
that's
that looks beautiful. Avebury's I can't believe it. I
I mean, have
haven't
you never
been.
been?
No, because
Really?
I was staying in Salisbury and I went
Hmm.
to Stonehenge and stuff and I was driving round and I saw the signpost for Avebury. I thought, shall I, shan't I? And I think I was just ready to get home. And it's
Mm,
the extra mileage. It's like, do you, don't you? I thought I can't do it. And it's like, oh.
yeah.
But yeah,
No,
but it's just one of
forget
them, isn't
forget
it?
Forget Stonehenge for stone bothering. If you want to go stone bothering, go to
Avebury,
Avebury.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's a particular room there as well, isn't there? At the pub. They still
Oh,
let it
I don't
out.
know about the pub.
Yeah. Oh
Ah,
yeah, the pub. Yeah.
ah.
Yeah, the pub,
No,
obviously.
I go for the stones and the burial
Yeah, but
chamber. Go for
the
West
pub's
Kennet.
but at Avebury, the pub's on this stone circle virtually, isn't it?
It is. It's in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it just outside it? I think it's
It's
just outside it.
near us, isn't it? But
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
But yeah, there's one room in particular. I don't even know if they'll allow guests in it. So I don't know.
Mm.
That is what I read at one stage. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right because it's an old pub. I know that I got kicked out of there because of my my dog was a puppy at the time and her behaviour
Mm,
was absolutely horrible. She wouldn't stop barking at people, so I was
oops.
asked to quietly leave.
Mm. Yeah, that's it. My dog is a bit. Oh, it's awkward in pubs with my dog, so we sort of avoid them.
Mm.
He doesn't mind staying in the car for a bit. If it's night time, he's happy getting having sleep. So if he's out
Yeah.
running all day, then he's just happy. There we go again. I'll probably get banned from Facebook now for that word. Yeah, probably. But you know what it's like. But yeah, I haven't
So yeah,
been there.
I tell you what, I do find difficult, and obviously because I look a certain way. Um, stones, you know, when people say, "Oh, you know, I go and sit with my back against the stones, or I'll place my arms around it and I spend some time in a stone circle and it really chills me out and I get lots of energy and blah, blah, blah from it." And it's like, I get nothing. I can understand the beauty of it and I love being in the space. I love burial chambers. West Kennet, Welling
Yeah.
Smith is one of my favourite places. I get nothing like
Oh,
other people.
wow.
You put me in a forest, and we were a different kettle of fish. And I think I came to the conclusion that stones are way too slow for me, way too slow. That
Oh, wow.
the energy that comes from them is just, I'm just like, nah, next.
Yeah.
Let's find somewhere else to get the energy from. But
I
I do
get
understand why.
get it in a way.
What? Yeah, I mean, the only time when I've ever been to a site where it's physically done something to me is I'd gone to northern France with a friend of mine. He had a little cottage out there, and
Yeah.
literally on every farmer's backfield there is a dolmen, or
Oh,
some
wow.
part of some burial chamber. And we'd gone to one. It pretty much an intact dolmen. And there were chickens running all over it. It was in some farmer's backfield, and there were
Mm.
chickens running all over it. And I went to put my hand on it, and I got an electric shock. And I was like, no,
Wow.
this
Incredible.
it's just
Yeah.
must be a one-off. So I did it again, and it happened to my friend as well. And we were like, has the farmer
Mm.
rigged this up? Has he got
Yeah.
electric fencing like touching this somewhere?
That's
But I've
incredible.
never experienced anything sort of physical or spiritual, really. Wayland Smithy definitely, but that's the land for me, not particularly the stones that are
Yeah.
there. But yes, I still like stone bothering. I'm not going to use the P word, Mark. I'll use
Yeah, that's it.
bothering.
Yeah, I'll probably, get booted for that one. But,
Yeah.
it's like there's the, Stanton Nine Ladies, Stanton Moor,
Yes.
and you
Yeah.
get the tree as well up there. You get the trees up there as well. That's a
Yeah.
stunning place.
It is. But these places are absolute. I don't know if I sound like a moaning, but they're bloody riddled with people. There's just too many
Yeah, I
people
get
going to these
you.
places now.
I did g to be honest, it was me. I was on my own with the dog, and there's 2 ladies, and they were loving the stones, basically, and one had a
Gee,
skipping
that sounds
rope.
wrong.
Well, no, you know what I mean. It's hard to phrase it. They were really
Yeah.
enjoying where they were, and they got a
Yeah.
skipping rope as well. And it was just we're just chatting and chilling with them, and it's just so cool. You know what I mean? And yeah, I was skipping with them, and like it was just so we just chatted to each other, and yeah,
Yeah.
it you just randomly meet people, don't you? Sometimes, and yeah,
You do. I mean, I went up there, I think it was a couple of years ago on Samhain, and all these places like 10 years ago you could go to, on the major,
oh yeah, it'd be
pagan
fine.
celebrations, and nobody would be there. It would be brilliant. You'd have the place to yourself. I do sound so antisocial. And I went up there and it was just packed with people doing little rituals, and it's like I couldn't even just sit and sort of chill and just
Yeah,
be, because there were people over here chanting and people over there talking and people over there ringing bells or playing guitar, and it's just like, sod off.
yeah,
Sod
I
off.
get that. Yeah.
you know
It's like
Nobody went to these places.
it's like me when I go camping. Like nothing
Yeah.
obviously 2020 and everyone started going camping.
Hmm.
Ah, go back to
Yeah.
Spain, go back to your hot holidays, please.
Yeah.
Microwaves in a tent, really? Oh dear, don't get me on that.
I'm with you. I am so with
Yeah,
you.
yeah, I
So with
know.
you.
It's like nobody ever broke in. Oh, Arbaleau as well. Yeah, I've been up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually at Arbaleau and one of the sheep fell on its back with its legs in its hair. I was like, oh my gosh, and that was a bit. Yeah, it fell. I just saw it. It's like, oh god.
What, fell off the side or
No, it was
just
on the
fell
field
keeled
and it was
over?
just yeah, it was just so I
Oh,
told the farmer for him to because apparently if they do, you've got to roll them back or something. So
They
yeah,
get distemper, they get air in the belly, don't they? I don't know why I know that, but they get air in the belly and it kills
yeah.
them.
But yeah, I was like, I went there, and then you obviously you've got sheep all around, which a lot of the places you have, and it's just lovely, isn't it? Just being out there, and
Mm,
yeah, but yeah, it's because the stones aren't that sort of pronounced that are below either, are they?
mm.
You go through that farmer's field and stuff it's on the hill as well. But yeah, there are a lot of fascinating places to go to.
There's some
But
fantastic places in this country. I'm definitely an advocate. I'm definitely an advocate for the Isles.
yeah, it's sort of like whether I do Scotland and Cornwall this year.
Do the double. Do the
Maybe.
double.
I might do, yeah, because I do get a lot of holidays with work, so yeah, let's go camping. It's like when to go to Cornwall, isn't it? Because of people,
Mm.
this is your one, and I might try October time down there. Yeah,
October, November. I've actually been in t-shirt and shorts in start of November down there.
I've got sunburnt in November, yeah. I
Yeah,
know, it's mad, isn't it? Yeah,
yeah.
so I might. It's just what campsites are open down there, isn't it? So I always go
Mm,
camping. I just love the freedom of that.
mm.
Just to get out, and yeah, practically rolling around in mud sometimes, but hey, but it's just the freedom, isn't it? And
It is.
just
Yeah,
being close
definitely.
to the earth and everything. The birds, like the birds, if you go like sort of March, April, the birds are so loud, aren't they?
Mm,
Amazing. But yeah,
yeah.
you just, I am just in a suburb of a city, so it's just great to get out and just see nature as it is, and to fight with nature as well.
Mm,
Like when you camp, you have to deal with everything, don't you? But
yeah.
it's one of them. But I want to thank you for the talk anyway. It's been absolutely fascinating.
Thank you
So,
very much.
obviously, you've got the podcast.
Yes.
Tell us how people find it
It's Hair in the Hawthorn on YouTube.
on YouTube. Okay, so YouTube, Hair on the Hawthorn. And I could hardly say that. But also, there's a book, Woolly Slots.
Yes. This is the new
That's
cover. So this is the new edition last year. This is the guys from Haunted Magazine who took over publishing
yeah.
because my old publishers retired. Mine was the
Oh
last book that they
wow.
did. So
Oh bless you.
Jacob Publishing took it over. So it's available on Amazon. If you put in Woolly Snots, bizarrely enough, I think it brings up socks to start off with. You have to scroll down
Oh
three or
god.
four. But if you put in Woolly Snots Kate Ray, it should come up. And first exclusive fee here. I am literally at the minute in first edit of the second edition, which is a bigger bumper of a story. It's quite mammoth. So I'm at the minute typing and editing the new book, which should be out this spring.
Awesome. So we'll be able to get it at the Parameet.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. Yeah, it'll be available at
Awesome.
Parameet.
Yeah, so there you go, Mark. You sold 2 copies. Me and Mark. At least. But yeah, but thanks so much for your time, and yeah,
You're
see you
welcome.
in
Thank you very
May,
much.
if not soon. But thank you
Yeah.
so much. And thanks everyone for watching. Take care, everyone. Bye. Bye, everyone.